As soon as I got in the house after this training session, my wife says to me, "What's wrong? You look like shit." I'm like, "What do you mean?" "You look drained," she goes. Well, man, I feel drained. I feel like I've done a pig squat routine, but I didn't. I am gobsmacked. I am surprised at the effect these low pin squats are doing. They are taxing the living hell out of me, and I keep looking at the bar, and I'm like, there's only 2 plates aside here, man. Like, this shouldn't be that difficult. But it is. It is so difficult. Oh my Lord. It's almost like trying to jump, right? Just imagine trying to jump without any momentum from the top down. So when we jump, we kind of take those quick 2 steps, we swing our arms, and there's this momentum that we carry, and then we go down, get a stretch reflex, and then we throw our hands up, we throw everything up, we extend, triple extend, and we go up. Well, imagine trying to completely remove all sorts of momentum from movement and putting yourself in the worst possible range of motion and then trying to basically accelerate from there. It is so freaking difficult. The central nervous system is like, what the hell are you doing, man? This is nothing like we've ever done in the last 800 and freaking billion days. So one of you guys said to me last night, maybe it's just a central nervous system freaking out. One of you guys also said, I bet in the next kind of short little while you're going to go up to 4 plates on this. Right now, as I'm sitting here looking at it, I'm very hard pressed to believe that this is going to be a quick rescue. There's going to be a quick turnaround, change. Right now, I mean, this is killing me. I kept thinking to myself, I'm going to a night shift tonight, so this is kind of like a really good, low impact training session because the bar is so light, right? Like I said, like this is less than 50%. This is less than 50%, man. Less than 50 damn percent, and I'm getting smashed. So in my mind, it's like there's 2 options here. Either I've found myself a glorious weakness that's weighing down on every freaking part of the system. It's either that's what's happening, or this is just a normal phenomenon when it comes to movement. We should not be moving from this position. This is the weakest position from us. I don't know. For somebody that squats the way I squat, this is very different. This is bizarre. I remember the first time I was exposed to pin squats, I was doing those high pin squats, and I was having a lot of success. I'm like, oh, this is easy, man. Partial range of motion. And so I was expecting as the pins go down in height, that would be difficult. But man, I never thought just, it would go down to less than 50% of my 1 rep max. And the weird thing is the bar feels light when I get it going. But just that smashing of that inertia, that initial, man, I feel like it's not moving, and then floodgates open. And then it's like I'm moving and I get to the top and I'm like, this is nothing. It's kind of like that weird moment in movement where it's kind of like there's a muscle pushing, there's a muscle pulling, there's a muscle pushing, there's a muscle pulling, and there's a lot of stuff going on to get the bar moving. It's like, I spoke about it yesterday, kind of like a handover of responsibility between almost like one shift of workers to the next. It's kind of like if you're going to have, a drop in performance, you will have it at that point because, as we know, Chinese whispers, communication, it's very hard to, tell somebody in 10, 20 minutes exactly what happened in your shift and for them to get that same vibe going into their shift. It's very, very hard to kind of get that point across. Communication is a very difficult thing. We see it in sport all the time. I need you to cut here, and the guy cuts, a couple of steps ahead. So I feel like that's kind of like that happening. Is I'm loading up exactly in the middle of that handover of responsibility. That's how it seems. Because you guys were telling me, mass times acceleration. All those formulas for force and all that stuff. And you guys are saying, because there's no acceleration, there's no eccentric portion, there's no stored energy. This is very, very difficult. But To me, it's like, okay, but at every other pin height, I don't have such glaring difficulties. Like with a really high pin squat, I can move 300 kilos. Here, I'm moving less than 50%. It's like a massive drop-off, humongous drop-off. And that tells me that something's wrong there, man. You shouldn't be 50%. Obviously, I'm doing a set of 10. I'm doing a set of 10, so it's not like a 1 rep max. But just the way it feels, as I'm kind of setting up, it just feels off, man. One of you guys said last night as well that the difficulty with that position is just getting tight. And I couldn't agree more with that, man. Like, it's such a difficult position to find comfort, to find tightness. The core's weird. Man, I was locking up in my lower back and in my mid back. It's really, really weird. Like, obviously, the quads are being put on the map majorly. That's kind of like top muscle in terms of what I'm feeling when I'm doing this. But the very next one is my back. It's my back, because the feeling that I have is I just want to lean over and deadlift this thing on my back. Just deadlift that shit up, man. Like, I know I have force within me to lift this thing, man. I can rep this thing out for 1,000, right? That's how it feels. So all I want to do is stick my ass up and just good morning that shit up. Kind of like a deadlift with the damn thing instead of being in my hands, it's on my back. But I'm trying to resist that hip rise. I'm trying to get, stick the hips underneath the bar. And that's kind of forcing this upper back thing. I'm trying to stick my chest out. It's just a battle. It's almost like I'm fighting myself. I'm fighting that intuition of going down the well-traveled road of just lean over and deadlift that shit up. And the pins, because you go back to the pins every rep, they remind you what's going on, man. They remind you. It's a weird sensation. Whereas if I was free from the pins and I could just rep it out, you just basically go into the well-traveled road and you just go into the highway and that's it. If you're trying to get traffic down a side street, say you're doing roadworks on a particular highway or a main street, and you have one guy sitting there, oh guys, come down this way, no one's going to listen to you, man. You literally have to block the damn road and be like, okay, you're turning here. Put some cones on the road, put some signs, roadworks, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden the traffic goes over there. So the pin squats is like a physical block. You ain't going there. You need to turn left into the side street and go around. That's kind of how it feels to have this feedback mechanism, this tactile block, or it's a physical block as well. It just forces you in a bad position. And my mind's racing right now. Like if I didn't have a night shift, I'd spend like 4 hours in the damn garage, man. Because literally, I don't want to say this, man. I hate saying this. You guys are gonna laugh at me, man. But I feel like I'm onto something, man. I really do. This is like, remember? Do you guys remember that ice bucket challenge for ALS? I feel like it was 6-7 years ago now. I literally feel like somebody's throwing a bucket of icy water on top of me. It's like, wow, like what the hell is going on here, man? There's something to this. I am moving less than 50%, man. The hell is going on? Gotta get better than that. I have to get better. Because when I went, so I do these pin squats, then I go to the normal squats. Man, the normal squats feel like, man, I did 160 and that kind of felt all right. It felt all right. And I paused that thing as well. It just felt all right. Because I'm going into that shitty range of motion with just a little bit of momentum, a little bit of acceleration already built up. I'm not going from zero. It's kind of like roll racing. You got cars that have no traction. And so going from 40 onwards, amazing performance. But get that really big powered car from a standstill and you can't, man. They're just spinning all the way. That's what it feels like, man. I'm making that high powered car stop. All right. Build power from get-go. I have no traction, man. I just have no traction. I got all this power, man, but I can't put it down. Man. I'm in a weird position. Somebody's put my damn wheels in mud. And I'm just spinning it. It's weird, man. Once again, there is 2 plates on the bar, man. 2 plates. I'm like, man, this is killing me. This is freaking killing me. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. Is it central nervous system? Is it really that taxing? But when somebody that sees you every single day sees a change in you, like, she's like, man, you look wrecked. I'm like, man, I didn't do a pin squat. Like all I did was 5 sets of damn 10. 5 sets of 10 at 100 kilos pin squats, really low. She was like, she goes, man, this is something. You look shit. So that's where I'm at. I'm afraid that this is way, way more difficult than I first thought. This is now 2 days in a row. This is 3 days in a row now. This is 3 days in a row where I couldn't do any upper body work. So the moment I hit those pin squats, it's over, man. So either I just forget about everything. I forget about everything in life and I just do pin squats. Forget about my dips and pull-ups and all this upper back calisthenic stuff. Or I just stick those pin squats at the end. Maybe that's one option because this is a finisher. I feel like going to bed now, man. Like, what is it, like 12 o'clock? I feel like having a shower, having some food, and then sleeping for 25 million hours. I wish I could because, you know, I've only got a few hours and I have to go to work tonight. I feel my quads, I feel my mid-back, lower back, and I feel this systemic flush, like just tired. So I have to think about how I'm going to approach the next few days. Because right now, all I'm really doing... So what I didn't show in this workout is I did some hamstring curls towards the end as well. Because I'm thinking, man, this is a whole bunch of pushing. I need to have some sort of pulling. And I ain't deadlifting. I ain't doing sumos after this, man. No way, man. I'm freaking wiped. And also the fact that I've got this night shift, so I can't afford to do that. So that's me, man. I have to think about what I'm going to do because this is dominating me. This is dominating me. I don't know whether any of you guys out there have this similar kind of feelings about this. I don't know whether you guys have tried this. Obviously, you can put pins at any height, you know, really high, really low. I feel like if this was an ATG position, like all the way down, if I had to like get into an ATG position, hips way below the knees, I reckon it would be an easier time. I honestly think it would be an easier time. It's just because it's in that crappy position where it's like, I don't want to be here. That's what's cooking me. So this is one of those moments in the past that I would just forget about benching, overhead pressing, pull-ups, dips. When I get excited like this and I find something that's like this, I'll forget about everything. I just want to focus on this and just do that. Every single recovery point, every single soldier that I have goes into this part of the battlefield and we're just going to smash this. Because if you address this weakness, squat goes up, deadlift goes up, everything goes up. And I'm thinking to myself now as well, like maybe this is somehow related to a deadlift position as well. Although my hips don't start this low in a deadlift, conventional deadlift, but it starts from a dead stop. It starts from a dead stop. So maybe that dead stop training will carry over to my deadlift as well, the initial pull. I'm really intrigued to see that. The only concern I have in all of this is that I have to do hamstrings. I have to hit hamstrings really hard. I just hit them on the bench thing that I have. You know, it's not bad. Like this thing's it's really, really old, but it does the job, man. I put 30 kilos on that thing and I could barely get 2 sets. The third one, I basically was just doing a pump, you know, small kind of range of motion reps. But I have to match the total reps that I'm doing here with that. Otherwise, hip pain, here I come. You know, 10.0 version of hip pain. But yeah, in one way I'm excited because there's not a lot of weight on the bar. But I'm feeling drained, man. I feel like I just went through a damn pig squat routine, man. So I don't really know what's going on. I really want to also try overhead press, pin presses. I've tried floor presses with bench press, and I've tried kind of like higher pin presses. But I never had the effect like this. I've never found such a glaring weakness. Maybe I'm thinking now, maybe I didn't find exactly the point that I needed to find with push presses, with pin presses. Or maybe I don't have such a glaring weakness on the bench press and the upper body. Maybe because I've been squatting so much in the ATG position, I've developed this huge imbalance. Maybe that's what's happening. Or maybe I'm just overthinking all of this shit, and in 4 or 5 days I'll get comfortable and everything will be gravy. Maybe that is, that's a thing as well. Who the hell knows? Sometimes I think to myself, I think too much, which is probably true, I think about all this stuff. Sometimes I watch my videos back, from whenever. I watch them back and I'm like, well, geez, that was a really good idea. Like, that's actually how this happened. This is how the pin squats came back into my mind. I started watching because, so I don't know if I've told you this a few times. I go back to my training logs all the time. Man, like I go back to my training log from 7 years ago. I've got 2 now, right? So one's almost a third of the way through. The other one's already finished. So I've got both of them, and I like to go through them and read my notes and see. And then I got to that, 210 kilo PR video, and in that I was talking about pin squats. And so I watched 4 or 5 videos around that period when I was talking about pin squats. And then I was like, wow, okay, so that's really, really interesting. But maybe I should kind of move away from the 5s and the volume work that I'm doing right now and do some pin squats. And that's kind of how it started. But now I'm kind of evolving that idea, and that thought process has gone an extra step further. And I'm thinking, okay, let's look for weaknesses. Let's look for weaknesses in the pin squats. Rather than using some superhuman damn weight on the bar, let's use really small weight, but really find, points of movement where I really, really suck. It's kind of like using the left hand. I remember when I was playing basketball, the coaches would be like, Ivan, you're right hand dominant. You always drive right. You got this weakness. You don't like going left. I don't like finishing left around, a shot block or anything like that. I feel like I'm just going to throw a brick up. I feel like what I'm doing right now is working on the left hand. And some things repeat in our life. Some things are really hard lessons. I was stubborn with the left hand, and I don't want to be stubborn with this. So now I'm like, okay, instead of me just becoming the world's greatest right-handed driver of all time, and trying to put 25 billion hours into improving 1 point of skill, because that's how it happens. It's, diminishing returns as you kind of get better and better at things. Why don't you use a quarter of those time spent, or those units of time spent into improving just like a half a point in here? If you use those same units of time into a weakness, you're going to improve the whole system 1 billion times over. And that's what this is. Sometimes it's just about that. And now I'm thinking about what Louis Simmons talks about, the whole damn idea behind all of his training philosophy. And I've seen a whole bunch of guys going to his training facility and him kind of standing around and talking. And he always says, man, what I would do is I would throw 100 exercises at you, and I would sit there with a pen and I would just basically mark down the exercises you're really shit at, and I'll make you do them. It's just so simple, man, isn't it? It's so simple. We all want to do what we are good at. That's a given. You can't tell me you like doing shit that you like. If you ask me to go for a run now, I wouldn't be happy, man. But if it somehow fed into me scoring better, that's what I have to do. The trick is finding the worst piece of shit exercise you can. Find that sucker and do it, and have some sort of clear plan in your mind that it carries over. If it carries over, just do it. You don't want to just do anything. You don't want to do ballet because you really hate ballet. And, that's not a thing, man. You got to intellectually find something that makes sense to you and put that on blast. That's what you got to do. Got a few names to mention in this video. I've got Bernard Gonzalez and Yusuf K. 2 names that popped up overnight. It's a blessing. I appreciate both of you guys. I appreciate all of the guys on the list. You guys are seemingly joining a freaking army now. So much appreciated, fellas. It really means a lot. All right, guys, I have to get back in the house and shower and eat and then sleep, because I've been beaten up by 100 kilos today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.